Watson gave up that year on trying to be perfect and instead concentrated on being clutch.
His first U.S. Open. Happy Father's Day, Tom Watson.
You know, they say you don't win the U.S. Open, the Open wins you, which means it comes down to fate. And just to throw fate to the wind, we hand our list over to our second guessers, those specialists in Shanks, Slices, the Junkies. Four sports-loving radio talk show hosts from D.C. and Baltimore who have never met a three-jack they didn't like.
All right, we've got the list here of the best U.S. Opens, and I love this list because I think it stinks. Right. At number 8, you've got Tiger Woods in 2000 when he won by 15 strokes. How can that not be number 1, the most dominating performance
I'll tell you why.
in U.S. Open history?
How do you like the field? Yeah,
okay?
how about no drama? Right. To me, something that's up at the top should be something that's close. It shouldn't be on the list at all.
How about he had a defining 4 rounds? Nobody has ever been that dominant in a major.
But in U.S. Opens, I mean, USGA tries to make the course so difficult. You just don't do that.
He laughed at it.
And especially at Pebble Beach. I mean, you just...
Who finished in second place?
Don't know.
Who finished in third?
Who knows?
That's my point. That's why it shouldn't be on the list.
Because he won by 15. That's why you don't remember who finished in
fourth. The point is he dominated the best players in the world.
Number 1 on the list, I think, is perfect. It's Tom Watson in 1982. Who finished in second? How about Jack Nicklaus? Pretty good leaderboard. Defining shot. How about one of the greatest golf shots ever on number 17?
All right, how about last year? Michael Campbell from New Zealand wins the 2005 U.S. Open at Pinehurst, and he was being chased down by monsters. Right. Tiger, Vijay, Goosen, guys who've won these tournaments before.
You know why it's not on the list? Because I have a better Q rating than Michael Campbell. Nobody knows who that guy is.
Don't you root for the underdog? I think that's a great story.
Yeah. But I think it is big because of the field, which brings me to number 6 on this list, Payne Stewart winning it in 1999. He had Phil Mickelson right behind him. Everybody was just waiting. Phil Mickelson, the greatest player not to win a major. Plus Tiger and Vijay.
Right. Payne Stewart, the only guy to finish under par in that tournament. But I think even bigger than that is when he actually won it, and then you remember him embracing Phil Mickelson. But says, look, you're going to be a dad. It's way more important than winning the U.S. Open. Tragically, Payne Stewart killed a few months later in the plane crash. So that's what I remember from that U.S. Open.
You know, number 3, before our time, 1962, Jack Nicklaus wins it. This was his first win. This was his defining moment. He was 22 years old. Also beat one of the greatest players of all time in Arnold Palmer in a playoff.
Right, the beginning of the 18 majors. And, you know, we weren't old enough to see it, but we've all seen the highlights of Ken Venturi winning the '64 U.S. Open at Congressional.
Right.
It was, like, brutally hot. I mean,
it's too much hype. It's golf. He's walking. Right. Okay, it was hot. He walked 36 holes. Isn't that part of the deal?
He almost died on the course.
He was exhausted.
Yeah, exactly.
He ramped up.
Drink some water. Keep yourself hydrated.
So let's recap this list. You love the guy that won by 15 strokes, and you love a guy who walked for 36 holes. The guy who was hot.
I like the guy that was tuckered.
Pretty high standard,
I don't have a problem with either one.
All right, that's the best U.S. Opens.
Now that the second guessers have had their say, it's time to see how you, the fan, voted on Sports Nation on ESPN.com for the best U.S. Opens of all time. Number 5, 1960, Arnold Palmer. Number 4, 1962, Jack Nicklaus. Number 3, 1982, Tom Watson. Number 2, 1999, Payne Stewart. Number 1, 2000, Tiger Woods. So that's it for this edition of Who's Number 1. I'm Trey Wingo, and thanks for joining us for ESPN Classic's ranking of the 20 best U.S. Opens. We will be back to continue our countdown of the teams, the athletes, and the events that have shaped our world of sports. Until then, let the debating begin.